Keeping the family well fed is a daily hustle for Hamida Ahmed. She lives in Accra with her husband and 2 children and says she's had to cut back on how much her family eats, from 3 times a day to 2, because of the high cost of living in the country.
My salary hasn't been increased for years now, and it's really affecting me. Since there is no increase in salary and prices at the market are increasing, how can I cope? It's very difficult.
Ghana's economy has been struggling to deal with high inflation since the beginning of this year. In August, Ghana recorded a year-on-year inflation of 40%, but food inflation was more than 50%. It is not just the high cost of food that many people in Ghana are having to grapple with at the moment. The cost of electricity and water have been increased 3 times this year. Many Ghanaians say they can no longer keep up with the high cost of living. In May, the government secured approval for a $3 billion IMF bailout to help the economy recover, but it had to implement some conditions, including utility tariff hikes, and also introduce new taxes to shore up revenue generation.
It is a deliberate effort by government to ensure that 1, we pay realistic prices, and 2, we are able to bring our energy sector on its feet, so that going forward, incidences of huge volumes of debts and with their inefficiencies and even inability to even meet some revenue targets will be a thing of the past.
But the implementation of the IMF conditions has further worsened the living conditions of Ghanaians, prompting a series of protests. The IMF has now urged the government to slow down the tax reforms, but the government stands by its strategy of implementing stringent policies to help reduce food inflation and also strengthen the local currency.
Government, as it stands today, is implementing practical measures, especially as it relates to agriculture sector. That's why we've implemented the Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 2. And we also have the Economic Enclave project, which also targets some food staples to ensure we are able to grow them on a large scale in enclaves, so that going forward, it wouldn't be the case that we would have food shortages, which would also shoot up the price of food.
Still, Hamida believes more needs to be done to reduce the economic hardship that Ghanaians are currently facing.
I expect the government to reduce utility bills and taxes on items.
But that is not likely to happen anytime soon. So Hamida Ahmed and millions like her face a difficult future. Nabil Ahmed Rufai, CGTN, Accra, Ghana.